Hello, my friends. Welcome to a summary full of horror and suspense. It tells the story of a grieving mother who lost her daughter, turning the tables on the killer and luring him into her home, where he finds himself trapped in a deadly game of revenge. Will she succeed in getting her revenge? Let's find out together. The movie begins with Mary running through the forest. She keeps running until she reaches a cemetery, where she stops and looks around as if searching for something specific. At that moment, someone is hiding among the trees, watching Mary and recording her. But Mary notices him, gets scared, and runs away quickly. The man chases after her, trying to catch her. Mary runs as fast as she can to escape, but he catches up, knocks her down to the ground, and pulls out a syringe. Mary, however, pulls out a spray and blasts it in his face, making him recoil in pain. He then pulls out a knife and tries to stab her, but Mary reacts quickly, manages to break free, and runs off. She dashes toward her car, opens the door to get inside and escape, but just then, the criminal catches up and injects her leg with a drug. He immediately collapses and falls to the ground, giving Mary a chance to jump into her car and speed away from the scene. She drives fast until she finally reaches her house. She parks in the garage, gets out of the car, and enters her home, unlocking the electronic door with her fingerprint. Once inside, she looks tense and afraid. At that moment, she remembers what happened 3 years earlier, when she was with her husband Rob and their daughter Kelly. It turns out that Kelly suffers from an injury that prevents her from walking normally. Mary had prepared a surprise for Kelly. They would live in a fully automated smart house powered by artificial intelligence, designed to make life easier for Kelly and give her more freedom to move around. We also learn that Mary is an engineer, highly skilled in her field. Kelly loves the house, and she's even more excited when Mary tells her she can control everything in it through an app on her smartwatch. Mary then snaps back to the present and heads into a room filled with surveillance screens covering every part of the house. We discover that Mary has kidnapped the man who was chasing her. She drags him out of her car's trunk, and he finds himself locked in the garage. He searches for a way out, but all the doors are locked except for one. He opens it and finds a staircase leading down to a basement. When he gets down there, he finds the walls covered in newspaper clippings and photos of 3 murdered girls. At this point, we learn that this man is a dangerous criminal named Diablo, the one responsible for killing those 3 girls. The police had never managed to catch him because he left no evidence behind. It's clear Diablo is mentally disturbed, as he stares at the photos with a twisted smile of satisfaction. Mary then activates a screen, playing a news broadcast. Diablo watches as the reporter says the police found the bodies of Diablo's victims in different places. Investigation showed that Diablo would drug his victims, kidnap them, torture them, then burn them alive. One of the bodies was even discovered with her tongue cut out, placed inside a box next to her corpse. Next, Selena, the head of the investigation team, appears and tells the press that Diablo chooses his victims based on specific traits. They must be young women with long hair. Meanwhile, Mary keeps watching Diablo through the cameras. She opens his file and speaks to him through a microphone, telling him that he used fake identities while committing his crimes, and that he kills women who resemble his mother. To her shock, Diablo responds, pointing at the camera and telling her that he will torture her before killing her. He then notices a key hanging on the wall, takes it, and unlocks the door in front of him. He finds himself in a room where a chain hangs from the ceiling, and small cages contain pictures of his 3 victims. In that moment, Diablo is haunted by a memory from his past. He recalls a painful childhood scene where his mother yells at him, beats him, and tells him she wishes he would die before becoming a criminal like his father. After that, Diablo snaps out of his memories and grabs the chain, only to find another key attached to it. At that moment, Mary switches on another screen, showing the sister of one of his victims. She's devastated by her sister's death and tells Diablo that one day someone will find him and make him pay for all the crimes he committed. This takes Mary back to the day she told her daughter that she would be undergoing surgery. She explained that she had arranged for a top surgeon to perform the operation and reassured her that afterward, she'd be able to walk again. Kelly was overjoyed, hugged her mother, and thanked her. Mary then snaps back to reality, watching as Diablo uses the new key to open another room in the basement. This time, he finds himself inside a narrow chamber filled with pipes releasing hot steam. Mary taunts him, reminding him that his second victim had tried to escape but died in a place filled with pipes and steam just like this one. Terrified, Diablo scrambles out of the room through a small hole in the wall. The opening seals behind him, and he realizes he's now trapped inside a tiny cell. In front of him, he spots a small statue. As he approaches, he recognizes it. It's the same statue that rests on his mother's grave. Suddenly, flames erupt violently from openings in the cell's floor. He dodges desperately to avoid being burned, and then notices a metal cover beneath the table holding the statue. Beneath it, he finds a hidden hatch. He quickly opens it, drops down, and ends up in yet another room beneath the cell. Meanwhile, Mary's neighbor calls her, telling her she received some mail. Mary brushes her off, saying she's too busy. But the neighbor insists, telling Mary that she's been acting strangely for a long time, locking herself inside the house and never going out. She says she's worried and afraid for her, and threatens that if Mary doesn't come outside right now, she'll call the police. Mary ignores her and ends the call. The neighbor, upset, decides to call emergency services to report suspicious behavior. But the operator dismisses her, saying she's a chronic complainer who always calls about trivial, unimportant issues. The operator doesn't take her seriously and ends the call. Mary, now shaken by the incident, stands in front of a picture of her daughter. The story flashes back to the past, showing Kelly after her surgery, finally able to walk normally. She was so excited to go out for her very first walk without crutches that she refused to let her mother accompany her, insisting she could manage on her own. Later that night, police officers surrounded a crime scene. Mary arrived in tears, desperate to get inside, but the officers stopped her. It's revealed that Kelly, Mary's daughter, had been murdered by the same serial killer who killed the 3 girls before her. Kelly died in the exact same way they did. The next day, Mary sat in the office of Selena, the head of the investigation team, who was deeply sympathetic to her. Out of compassion, Selena showed her the case file on Diablo. There, Mary discovered the formula of the drug Diablo used to sedate his victims. That night, Mary met with a drug dealer and bought a large quantity of the same substance Diablo used. Back in the present, Diablo struggles to escape the cell through a hole in the ceiling, but gets stuck and can't move. Mary prepares a syringe filled with the drug, planning to inject him so she can knock him out and drag him out of the opening he's caught in. She heads down into the basement and approaches him. But it turns out Diablo was only pretending to be trapped in order to lure her in. Before she can inject him, he drops from the hole and attacks her, overpowering her and trying to inject her instead. But Mary had a backup syringe loaded with the same drug. She stabs him at the very same moment he injects her. Both collapse to the floor, slipping under the effects of the sedative. Just then, Mary activates the timer on her smartwatch, and the scene flashes back again, this time showing Mary on her bed, having tested the drug on herself earlier. She wanted to understand how it affected the body and how long its effects would last. She recorded in her notes that the sedative kept her under its influence for exactly 40 minutes. The next day, Mary goes to Selena and talks to her about Diablo. At that moment, Selena steps out to speak with one of her colleagues, and Mary seizes the opportunity to slip a flash drive into Selena's computer, giving her access to the system whenever she wants. Mary searches through Selena's office until she finds her ID card, quickly takes it, and slips it into her pocket without anyone noticing. That night, Mary plugs the flash drive into her own laptop and gains access to all the police files about Diablo. The following day, she impersonates Selena and heads to the police archive department. She manages to fool the clerk and gets inside. After searching, she finds Diablo's file and pulls out the maps hidden inside. Using those maps, Mary is able to track down his location, but when she arrives, she discovers it's actually his mother's grave. There, she finds Diablo's chain hanging from the statue on the grave. The next day, Mary appears on television, publicly insulting Diablo to provoke him into chasing her. As the drug in her system begins to wear off, she grabs a dagger and tries to kill Diablo, but to her shock, he's able to move again. He blocks her attack and takes the dagger from her. Mary knocks him to the ground and flees the room, struggling with the lingering effects of the drug until she reaches the basement door. Just before she escapes, Diablo catches up and stops her from closing it. He shoves her aside and follows her out. Mary fights back fiercely, hitting him hard before running off. At that very moment, Rob and Selena arrive at the door. It's revealed that Mary's neighbor had called Rob, telling him Mary had locked herself inside and wasn't responding, raising suspicions that something strange was happening. Selena approaches the door and rings the bell. The moment Mary hears it, she rushes to the electronic lock, places her hand on it, and opens the door for Selena. Suddenly, Diablo attacks Mary, striking her and trying to overpower her. But he's confronted by Selena, who raises her gun at him. Diablo lunges at her, and all three tumble to the ground. Mary grabs the dagger and tries to stab Diablo, but he twists her hand and forces her to stab Selena instead. He then grabs Selena's gun and tries to shoot Mary, but she wrestles it away from him and strikes him repeatedly on the head until he loses consciousness. At that moment, Rob rushes in, stunned by what he sees. Mary begs him to press down on Selena's wound while Selena calls the police to report what happened. Meanwhile, Mary ties up Diablo, drags him down to the basement, lays him on a bed, and secures him tightly. When Diablo regains consciousness, he finds himself facing a screen showing childhood photos of him with his mother and father, though his father's face is obscured. Mary tells him she knows he killed his mother because she reviewed all his psychiatric records and medical history. She reveals he inherited his mental illness from his father, and explains that she discovered something the police never did, that Diablo hides out in cemeteries. That's why she went on TV to insult him, pushing him into showing up. She waited at the cemetery day after day until the moment she finally lured him in and captured him. Mary then tells him she's going to kill him in the same way he murdered her daughter. She grabs his tongue and cuts it out, then douses his body in gasoline, sets him on fire, and leaves as he burns, finally avenging her daughter. Mary returns to Selena and Rob, telling them she killed Diablo. Just then, the police arrive. Selena covers for her, telling the officers that Diablo had attacked Mary, that she tried to protect her, but he stabbed her and escaped. The next day, the news reports the mysterious death of Diablo, with rumors spreading that one of the victim's mothers had taken revenge and killed him. And that's where the movie ends. If you enjoyed the film, don't forget to hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more.